last episode of Ultimate Survival, Everest. Team Discovery climbers Andrew Locke and Hector Ponce made it to the summit of the world's tallest mountain, just one day after British socialite Annabelle Bond and her Chilean teammates stood on the famous peak.
Can't believe I'm here. It's amazing.
While diabetic climber Will Cross was slowly heading to Camp 3, Mexican climber Andres Delgado was suffering through his painful attempt at summiting without oxygen. But not every climber went for the top. Team Discovery leader Ben Webster stayed at Camp 2, and he sent his girlfriend Shauna Burke back to base camp. They're resting for their push, slated to begin in 5 days. There's been countless close calls this season, but mercifully, no deaths. However, on Everest, most lives are lost when the exhausted climbers are descending. And so far, no summiter has made it safely back down the mountain. It's noon on May 16th. 30 climbers are inching their way back down to Camp 4, having made it to the summit of Mount Everest earlier this morning. Passing them on the famous Hillary Step are more climbers still on their way to the peak. Most have a turnaround time of 2 o'clock. That means wherever they are en route to the summit, they plan on turning around at 2 p.m. so they can make it safely back to Camp 4 before night falls or the weather turns. Team Discovery are all healthy and descending well. So far, everything is going perfectly. Just below what's called the balcony, Andres Delgado is alone on his quest to summit without oxygen.
Still alive.
For a hit of energy, this married father sucks on liquid honey. Sucking on oxygen would help him more. Climbing without oxygen is almost impossible. Less than 8% of all Everest summits have been done without supplemental gas. At this rate, it will be almost dark before Andreas sees the summit. That's too late. He's climbing into unspeakable danger. Human body parts, still swathed in Gore-Tex, frozen in time, remind climbers that if you falter, this mountain will simply destroy you. Andreas is unrelenting. Way down at Camp 2, you can't wipe the grin off Ben's face. Having 6 of his team members make it to the top is something he revels in. But when Hector radios down that a climber is in trouble above 8,600 meters, Ben gets right back to business.
There's an emergency high on the mountain. I just talked to Andrew. What has happened is our group, as a group descent, came across what I believe to be old Tom from the Mexican-Canadian group. He seems completely out of it.
It's Tom Masterson, the 58-year-old mountain guide from Colorado, who's climbing without oxygen. He's become delusional and irrational.
You can't go anywhere with a busted crampon.
Andrew tries to be patient, but Tom is ranting. He has broken footwear and his safety harness hangs sadly at his knees. Yet he's convinced he can make it.
Thank you. Leave me alone. I can't kiss it.
If he's falling down now on his way up, he'll never come home. Stop Tom from climbing and help him come down. Can you do that? Can you rescue him?
Lakpagelu and Mingma fix Tom's crampon. Tom thinks it's to help him go up. He has no idea he's being rescued.
Yeah, I said that Tom is now talking to an absent friend, someone who's not here.
Andrew has seen this kind of insanity before. It's most likely being caused by high-altitude cerebral edema, which means Tom's brain is probably so swollen it's squeezing against itself, causing confusion and a loss of motor skills. If he's unlucky, Tom could have a stroke.
I will go down. Yeah. No problem.
At base camp, Tom's team member Jose Luis has lost control of his climbers. While Tom's life is being saved, another team member is also in dire straits, having run out of oxygen. Once again, Ben informs base camp that Team Discovery is dealing with the crisis.
Luis, just below the summit, ran out of gas, and we were able to give him a bottle of gas. Our team was able to give him a bottle of gas.
Team Discovery has extra oxygen left over from their summit push. Hector prepares a spare tank with a mask and regulator before setting off to meet Andrew and Tom. Andreas has made it to Tom's side. Tom now breathes bottled oxygen, but he's refusing a deck shot, a hypodermic needle that would alleviate his brain swelling.
Tom refused a deck shot, but we should let me give it to him because he's definitely not on the same playing field as the rest of us, but he is at least using gas, so that's helping.
I think on top of the oxygen you guys are getting him, it makes sense to go ahead and give him the dexamethasone shot and the Diamox if you can get him to take it. Over.
Absolutely, I'll relay that up to Andrew, who's with the climber right now, and we'll get the information to him, and I'm sure he'll get back to us. Over.
Everybody's telling me to give you a shot. Okay.
Yes. Understand.
Okay.
Andreas encourages Tom not to take any drugs if he doesn't want to. Tom doesn't want to. Tom's teammate, Luis, has taken Andrew's last bottle of oxygen. Luis needs help to go down. Seeing his team in tatters like this, Andreas must decide which is more important, his own climb or the safety of his team. Wisely, he accepts oxygen from Hector.
Andreas has correctly decided to turn around and go down with the team. Very good decision on everybody's part. Unfortunately, it wasn't that team's day today. They've had a few incidents. So, as it stands now, their climbers have support, they have help, but it's going to be a very long descent and probably a very stressful descent down into the camp.
Normal rules of life don't apply here. For example, what goes up Mount Everest doesn't necessarily come down. There's a rescue technique called short roping. Climbers tie themselves together with a short rope. The stronger climber then lowers the weaker one. Tom is being short roped down by the Sherpas, while Andrew is waiting to help another lost climber. Everest is larger than life. This vein of marble, called the Yellow Band, is the highest fault line in the world. Will Cross is feeling the strain of climbing up the Yellow Band. He's been on his feet for 4 hours, and he's not done yet.
We're rock climbing at 24,500 feet, and that's exhausting. Even on oxygen.
So welcome, rock band.
All right. Yeah, we got about 2 hours to go. That death rock just fly by us, and the oxygen system's working really well. You can hear it pulse, and that fires the oxygen in to the system.
Will has climbed the highest mountain on 4 of the 7 continents, and he has skied to both the North and South Poles. Today, he's leading the 3rd wave of climbers headed for the summit of Mount Everest. 5 teams are leaving Camp 3 this morning, hoping to arrive at the peak 24 hours from now. If Will makes it to Camp 4, he will eat, take insulin, rest until just after dark, and then head for his destiny. But first, he must scrape his way past the Yellow Band. Annabelle and Andronico are both still higher than kites following their successful trip to the summit. It's an ecstasy that was worth every hardship.
Happy to be going down.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You're a great job, huh?
It was so tough.
Pulling himself up and over the Geneva Spur, Will is honing in on Camp 4. It's only half an hour away now. Things are going very well for Will. He was a little nervous trying out his brand new untested oxygen system here, but it's getting him all the gas he needs. As Will arrives at camp, he sees exactly what he's going to be in for this evening, when he must leave in the dark.
So now we hydrate. And I think the plan at the moment will be to leave relatively early. I tend to move rather slowly, on purpose. Got me to the pole. The reason for that is that's what works best with the insulin.
As he settles into his tent for some last-minute rest, Will hears a voice that invigorates him more than oxygen ever could.
Hi, Will. This is Amy at base camp. How are you, honey?
Hey, wifey, good to hear from you.
The climbers who made it to the summit of Mount Everest this morning are starting to filter back down to Camp 4. Most look worse for wear, but are stoked to be alive with stories of epic glory.
It's been a great day so far. We summited, all of us, 4 Sherpas and the 2 Westerners.
While the Sherpas wait for Lakpagelu and Mingma to return, Will Cross waits for his wife to contact him on the radio. She has trekked into base camp to cheer him on.
Hi, Will. This is Amy at base camp.
Glad you made it up to base camp. How are things for you?
Things are great here, but I'd like to know how your climb went today.
Sexy climbing today. It was hard, it was high, and there were rocks and ropes involved. So if you can't get turned on by that as a climber, you're in the wrong game. It was a great day.
So you're feeling really healthy?
Oxygen helps and a good teammate helps. So we are hydrating and eating right now, and then looking to leave early. Copy that?
What's your estimated time for departure?
We're going to look to leave camp between 8 and 8:30 p.m., which is rather early. But as anyone at base camp can tell you, the last 24 hours has been epic, and we're aiming to avoid that.
Copy that, Will. Sounds like a good plan. That'll bring you home to me a lot sooner, so I like the sounds of that.
I have a turnaround time in my mind of noon to keep things safe and reasonable, and to put you and Max ahead of the game.
That's great, babe. Well, I love you a lot, and I can't wait to have you back down here at base camp safe. I know you're going to do well tonight and tomorrow.
Thanks, Sam. It's good to hear.
Love you a lot. We're stand by.
Okay, babe, I love you so much. Take it easy. I'll be with you the whole time. I'll be thinking of you, and that's it. I love you. Over and out.
It's good to have your wife on the mountain. Very good.
Lakpagelu and Mingma Sherpa are back at Camp 4. They're late and drained because they helped rescue Tom Masterson. Up high, Tom was talking to people who weren't there, and he was staggering like a drunk. Now he seems better, but he's refusing to believe he was ever in trouble.
Tired, but better, huh? Once you lose altitude?
Yep.
Okay.
Then, after 20 hours of climbing in the death zone, Andrew Locke comes back to camp. What a day.
Hey, Andrew.
He summited Mount Everest and helped save 2 lives.
You must be wasted, man. Good job. You brought that guy down. Yeah, give him that. Good job, Andrew.
Andrew is thrilled with his performance today, but he's only at Camp 4. It's too soon for celebrations. Down at Camp 2, happiness for the Chilean team is totally unrestrained.
Excellent job, man! Excellent, baby!
Annabelle and Andronico receive a hero's welcome from their team manager, Rodrigo.
You did it! I knew!
Oh my God.
I made it, oh my God. Oh. Excellent, huh? Very well done. Marvelous.
Thank you.
People climb Everest so they can stare death in the face. When death stares back, it either scares the life out of them or it makes them realize everything they have to live for.
Yes, today, 3 things happened. One, my oldest boy graduated in America, in Boston. And it was his birthday. Yeah. And the other 2 smaller is also their birthday. So 3 kids with birthday. One graduating in Baptist College. I keep saying to myself, I am not in his graduation. My first kid. I'm not to it. I mean, it was difficult. It's such a tremendous effort to finally say, I must come down to at least tell my family what I did.
6 climbers will be dead when this season ends. Andronico will be home with his family.
I think most people are in shock that I've made it. I don't think people can believe that I've actually done it, which is a nice thing. It's good to surprise people rather than to have them expect you to do it.
Alone in a tent, 8,000 meters above sea level, Will Cross administers himself a shot of insulin. He's exhausted, but ready to go for the summit.
Now feeling pretty good after a long day hauling up. Well, it's showtime. Now we gotta get out there and do it. Hope the weather holds. Hope the oxygen holds. Hope our bodies hold. And that's about it, really. Now we gotta do it.
At 8:30 p.m., Will Cross left Camp 4, headed for the summit of Mount Everest. It's 2:30 a.m. now, and Will has stopped just below the balcony at an altitude of 8,600 meters. His climb is suddenly, shockingly over. Trusting an untested oxygen system has cost him everything.
Problems with the oxygen. So, could have made it to the top, couldn't have made it back down. I'll tell you that much.
Keeping a promise he made to his wife to come home safely, Will sacrifices his climb and turns around. In the morning, Hector leaves Camp 4 headed back down to Camp 2. It's going to be a tougher climb than he had planned on because yesterday he gave away all of his remaining oxygen.
I'm tired, for sure. It's not the kind of fatigue in which you feel it from going fast or slow. You just can feel that your body has burned down to the last calorie. That's the kind of tired I am.
Will Cross arrives safely back at Camp 4. It's painful to think that if his oxygen system hadn't failed, he'd be approaching the south summit right now. Failure comes in many forms on Everest. It's what keeps this mountain so intriguing.
Yeah, that's the name of the game. You win some, you lose some. Didn't summit today. And that's obviously what we came to do. But it's a decision I can live with. And today was the right one. So, there you have it.
God, you know, what you have to go through just to get as far as he did shows that, you know, he's got great endurance, great strength, good heart, you know, strong mind. So I'm really proud of him.
Shauna Burke is leaving base camp, headed for Camp 2. She hopes to be making a summit assault with her boyfriend, Ben Webster, in 3 days' time. But while she's been away from him, Ben's body is weakened, and he doesn't believe he can summit anymore.
My first priority, and I don't have a problem saying it, is to get Shauna the best possible opportunity and shot. That'll be a defining thing in her life. I absolutely will go high, but I am worried about where I'm going to be when I do go high, emotionally, mentally, and physically.
When Shauna gets to Camp 2, Ben will break the news. He's not going to go for the summit with her.
I'm going to go up to the call. I gave a personal commitment to Shauna that I would see her off. So I'll climb with her up to Camp 4, at which point I'll sit with a safety Sherpa and several balls of oxygen in case there's a problem high on the mountain, at which point then I'll be forced to climb with the Sherpa.
Since they summited 2 days ago, Andrew and Hector have been reluctant to celebrate. Walking safely into base camp, Hector is ready for a party.
When I reach the summit, I never feel the kind of relief or even excitement that I feel when I'm done with the icefall. Definitely, until you're not like here at base camp, you don't feel like that relief and then that excitement of having summited, all of that. I like that. Thank you.
Tonight, the Sherpas are partying in the kitchen tent. This beer-fueled bash is their toast to a job well done. The singing, dancing, and drinking goes on strong, well into the night. Today is May 20th. After being away from his wife Amy for over 2 months, Will Cross is about to reunite with her. He's descending down through the last section of the icefall.
Will!
With so many stories to tell, he doesn't know where to start.
Oh, it's great to see you.
During his expedition to Mount Everest, Will Cross missed seeing his infant son Max take his first steps. And Amy Cross missed her husband.
Come here. I love you. I know it's so hard. You're awesome. Oh, you did such a great job. I love you so much. Thank you for coming back down to me. Oh, you've got to be so tired. Oh, I got to take care of you.
Beat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look great.
Yes, well, that's good. I feel like dirt.
Can I take your pack for you?
No, yes. Gotta get my spikes off and eat some food and take some insulin.
Yeah, I brought it for you.
Okay, great. Everything to do with diabetes was fine. I mean, that was not the problem. plenty of guys up there who didn't get as far as we did and who are just as tired as we are, who don't have diabetes. So I think in terms of that, it was fine. I think the thing to do now is to go back to the drawing board and figure out what we can do differently and give it another crack another time.
Days turn into nights and nights into days, while Shauna waits at Camp 2 for the weather to improve enough that she can go for the summit.
At this point, all we're hearing from the weather reports is that the winds are high and that the humidity is high. It's not looking good, but I think that I'll get my chance anyway to attempt the summit.
On May 23rd, her chance finally arrives. In the last 6 days, several climbers have died high in the mountain. Still, Shauna and Ben will climb for Camp 3 today and Camp 4 tomorrow. From there, Shauna will head for the summit without him.
Well, it's going to be a great day climbing today. Been waiting a long time for this.
Go time for everybody. All right.
Shauna is still suffering from the debilitating effects of the Kumbu cough.
Whenever I cough, I feel cramps in my tummy, and food will often surface, which is not very fun, but
all part of the game.
Part of the game.
At this stage in the game, Ben feels even weaker than Shauna.
All right, buddy. Let's go do it.
That's it.
And we're off.
Last week, Ben achieved his professional goal for this expedition. He got a series of cameras to the summit of Mount Everest. Now, he's climbing to achieve a personal goal. He wants to get his girlfriend, Shauna Burke, to the top of the world. Ben heads up the mountain. It's the first bit of real climbing he's done in over 2 weeks. He'd rather go home, but he's made a commitment to Shauna that he is determined to honor.
How many marriages or how many relationships are layered with masks that we hold on to, and you really never get to know who that person is that's sleeping beside you. In this case, those masks will be dropped down, and it'll be raw, and it'll be real, and it either brings you together because you're happy with what you see in each other, or it doesn't, it shatters it.
I think we'll learn a lot about each other, about our relationship, and if everything all goes well, I think it'll bring us that much closer.
Ben has been at 6,500 meters altitude for the last 2 weeks. Coordinating the expedition from that high for that long has robbed him of his strength. Halfway up the Lhotse face, just 2 hours into his climb, Ben is slowing down, stalling, fading. He can't take it anymore. He has to stop.
I'm struggling. Feels like I'm gonna vomit most of the time, which is never fun. I'm just really suffering. I'm really suffering today.
Ben and Shauna are supposed to get to Camp 3 today. At this rate, they'll never make it.
All right, here's the situation.
Ben knows he only has one choice.
Give me 1 minute.
Ben is going to turn back.
I honestly believed that I could get to Camp 3, get on oxygen, and get to the call tomorrow to support Shauna and her bid. But I had no idea that I was this toast. I'm absolutely fried. I'm having a terrible climb. An absolutely awful effort today. I never felt like this. I got nothing. I almost feel hollow in my body. I got nothing left. Less than nothing. All right, guys, that's it. I'm sorry, baby. Yeah, I know, I love you too. You're gonna do this. I'll talk to you on the radio. Love you, baby.
Look at that, Ben. Andrew, hey, how you going?
Over the radio, Andrew and the team learn that Ben is retreating.
So, absolutely, I'm descending. I'm going to send Shauna off. I can only tell you on a personal level, I can't even begin to tell you the sorrow I feel having made the commitment to her, to get her to the call and to be there during her push, and now to realize that I won't be because I'm not strong enough.
I gotta let Shauna go on her own, which is heart-wrenching for me, but B, accepting the fact that I didn't do what I had set out to do. Anyway, Ben out. I'll talk to you on the radio, and I'm sorry, love.
Ben doesn't feel like he's abandoning his climb. He feels like he's abandoning Shauna.
I'll miss him tremendously on the climb up. But I have to be strong.
You do gotta be strong, baby. It's your time. It's not my time. It's your time. All right? Be strong. Be strong for both of us. It's your time now.
Okay.
Ben comes down the mountain. Shauna goes strongly up the mountain. Arriving here means that after more than a year of preparing and training and waiting, Shauna is finally in place for her Mount Everest summit assault.
Welcome, Camp 3.
Well, made it to Camp 3.
This is Shauna's last gasp. Climbing season closes in 6 days. Her summit must come now or never. It's May 24th. As Ben arrives dejectedly back at base camp, Shauna is slogging her way up to Camp 4. With every step Shauna takes, she climbs higher than she's ever been in her life.
A great new challenge. Not an easy climb. The oxygen helps a lot.
Even though Shauna is doing fine without him, Ben feels guilty for leaving her on the mountain.
I pouted for 20 minutes, accepted the fact that I failed, and that'll leave scar tissue, and I'll have time to deal with it with a bottle of whiskey 3 or 6 months from now.
Someone from the team has to be at Camp 2 in case something goes wrong up high. Hector volunteers to go. Shauna arrives at Camp 4 and discovers it's still an active village.
Nice to see there's other teams up here. We're not alone.
Shauna was told the weather up here tonight would be good. Apparently, no one told that to Mia Langsangma, the god of Mount Everest. It's minus 30 degrees Celsius. The wind is almost gale force, and it's getting worse. Even so, Shauna must be ready to leave at 10 p.m. That means oxygen, hot drinks, and 10 hours of rest.
Base camp to South Call, over.
From the base camp communications tent, Ben speaks with Shauna at Camp 4 and Hector at Camp 2. It's an hour before Shauna is supposed to leave for the summit, but the weather is too grim for climbing.
The winds are still pretty strong up here. Yeah. Let's hope it dies down.
Hi, Hector. I hear you got bad weather there.
We got here to wait from.
Unless there's some radical change up there, Hector, in the next minute or two, we're gonna shut it down for tonight. I'm gonna see if they'll stay at the call one day, and then I'm gonna have to do some serious hustling to get enough gas to support it tomorrow, over.
To survive her extra day at Camp 4, Shauna and the Sherpas have to breathe bottled oxygen. But unbelievably, they awoke this morning to find their oxygen supply has been stolen. Ben is working with Keely to solve the problem.
What do you say?
Like, Shauna has like... No, hunta.
First thing is tell them that we're going to send Galjan down.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we got to start, we need them to look for half bottles to get through today.
Okay.
Because that'll give them, on the summit push, if only Nehru, Denaru, and Shauna go up, All we need is 7 bottles.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And tell him that that he needs to talk to the Sherpas.
For a margin of safety, Ben tries to get more oxygen delivered to one of the most obscure locations on Earth.
I know it's tough, bud, but this is, you just gotta roll with this and believe in your heart of hearts that you're gonna get your shot. That the weather will come good late tonight and you'll get your shot, over.
Okay, I'll keep my fingers crossed.
The Sherpas sift through used oxygen bottles that have been left behind as litter, setting aside any that still contain gas. They'll use this pile today while they rest, and tonight, they'll take their remaining full bottles to the summit, if the wind dies down. At Mount Everest Base Camp, Ben listens in as Shauna tells Hector her summit push is being postponed again.
Yeah, I think our only chance will be to maybe leave at midnight if they die out, but right now, I don't think there's a chance in hell, over.
Camp 4, this is base camp, over.
Yeah, hi, Ben, over.
I'm sorry to hear about the situation, Shauna. I just heard from Guy Cotter, and his people were saying the same thing, that it's high winds still up there.
In the morning, Ben suspects that his girlfriend won't be making it to the summit of Mount Everest. But Shauna is still clinging to her dream.
How do you personally feel? Over.
If I knew the winds were down tonight, I would give it a shot, but you told me they're not, so there's no point waiting it out, over.
My concern is the fact that you've now been up there for 2 nights at 8,000 meters, and I start to worry that, you know, some bad things can happen.
It would depend on whether we can find someone to actually stay with you as well. Who felt strong, not just stay with you, but felt strong enough that they can get to the summit and back home. Over.
Ben then talks to Shauna's lead Sherpa.
This is Nehru from Portugal, over.
Nehru, I need an honest assessment now. Now that you guys are up and moving, did you jack the oxygen level up a little bit, over? And how are the Sherpas feeling now?
We are slowly packing out the things, over.
Okay, I understand what you're doing. I'm asking you how you're feeling.
Ben talks to Nehru, and as he does, Camp 4 is being torn down around Shauna. Determined, she stays in her tent, hoping for good news. It doesn't come.
Shauna.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to tell you.
You wanna go?
I wanna go down.
Okay.
We have already spent 2 nights here.
Yeah.
And I have told you yesterday very frankly.
Yeah.
The previous night will be our last try.
Okay.
If we could not be able to make previous night, we go down.
Okay.
I hope you remember.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know maybe if Dad really wanted to stay. He wants to go.
All wants to go.
Oh.
Yeah, because you know, when we all stay, we all good team spirit.
Yeah.
We have been already spent 2 nights, all 5.
Yeah.
And when we split,
yeah,
feel very bad. You know,
yeah,
feel very bad, and even for those Sherpa who are going down,
yeah,
the tears comes thinking about the Sherpas staying here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, Shauna.
No problem.
Yeah, I hope you don't mind.
No, that's
you can understand us. So what I think is, it's better. Our life is more important. It's better we safely get down.
Okay.
And today, if we can, we get down to base camp.
Yeah.
Yeah, we try.
Okay.
If you don't mind, Shauna.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
No, I understand. I don't want to put anybody in danger.
Yeah.
So if that's how you feel, because
yeah, I know. it makes you a little sad.
Yeah.
But I'm very sorry.
The decision is made. We're going down.
Shauna feels angry. If she could have gone for the summit in the first window of opportunity, maybe she would have made it. The way it played out, she never had a chance.
Well, I have no idea what to say to her. Shauna, please be careful on the way down, and let us know when you're leaving the call. We're on standby, and I'm just very, very, very sorry. Over.
You think you're sorry, over?
Right now, Shauna is 800 vertical meters from the summit of Everest, but she's closer to her home in Ottawa than she is to the pinnacle of mountaineering. It's hard on everyone.
Yeah, I copy, Shauna, I copy. Over.
Everest. It's more than just a mountain. It's a massive philosophical question. Why on earth do people risk life and limb to get here? Some climbers come for ego. Some come for beauty. And some come so they can squeeze every last drop out of life. This mountain knows the world's greatest joy and the saddest heartbreak. They say that ultimately Mount Everest is climbed for one reason, because it's there. Climbers may come and climbers may go, but Mount Everest will always be there. When this mountain ends, life goes on. So what do people do when they're done climbing Everest? When this group of climbers arrived at Mount Everest Base Camp 50 days ago, Ben said the expedition would be a success if everyone walked out alive. It's been a much bigger success than that. Andrew and Hector both made it to the summit. Ben produced television footage on parts of the mountain that have never been filmed before. And for one divine moment, Shauna was the highest woman on the tallest mountain in the world. These four people may never be together again, but they will always be Team Discovery, conquerors of Mount Everest.